Among the many important characters that emerged within the new Chilean song movement, the name Rolando Alarcón has been possibly the least celebrated, despite his extensive musical collections and the transcendence of his songs. He was a profound Chilean musician who innovated the music scene in Chile. I will take you through the timeline of his life, the musical contributions, and his role in the Nueva Canción. He was born on August 5th, 1929 in Sewell, Chile. He lived with his two parents and three brothers. At the age of 10, he moved to Chillán, where he studied and became a teacher there. He moved to Santiago in 1950, where he taught at public schools and high school. It was here where he first discovered his passion and interest for folk music. He helped found the Coro Pablo Videas, the first folk music choir. In 1955, he became the director of the Cuncumen, a set of folkloric projections dedicated to the collection, study, and diffusion of songs, dances in the central region of Chile. He continued to direct for 7 years and toured Chile and Europe. In 1962, Rolando formed a duo with Silvia Urbina, also a former member of the Cuncumen. Together, they recorded 6 songs and joined the La Imagen de Chile, which was a tour, and it toured Panama, Peru, and the United States. Soon after, he composed Si Somos Americanos, which means If We Are Americans. He included this song in his 1965 album, Rolando Alarcón and His Songs. Here I will play a 1-minute clip of the song. In 1968, he recorded the album Songs of the Spanish Civil War. With this album, he was able to start his own record label, Tiempo. The name of the song that I'm choosing to play from the album is Si me quieres escribir, if you want me to write. Here I will play another 1-minute clip of the song and explain the lyrics. The Nueva Canción. So during much of this time in these events, there was also the Nueva Canción movement taking shape in South America. It began in the late 1950s and it continued into the 1960s. It began as a proactive movement that contested the political dictatorships at the time, and it was starting to spread quickly. The early new songs were seen as a reaffirmation of the traditional culture through music. As the genre spread, it became more politicized and played a major role in the flourishing social movements. More specifically, the Nueva Canción movement in Chile was called the Nueva Canción Chilena. In the article, My Guitar is Not for the Rich, the New Chilean Song Movement and the Politics of Culture by Jeffrey Taffet, published in 2004, he states, this unity of anti-national power from both internal and external sources was clearly illustrated in the popular Chilean music. Chilean folk singers who wrote about songs dealing with social, political, and economic problems. As music connected with the people, a basic theme was the struggle of the common man against the wealthy and the powerful. Rolando, by the mid to late 60s, was very involved in left-wing politics. In 1967, he released the album El Nuevo Rolando Alarcón as part of the movement. Similar to many musicians involved in the Nueva Canción at the time, Alarcón's genre of music was described as neo-folkloric. Neo-folkloric is Andean music. Andean music was a large influence of this style of music. In the book, Thinking About Music from Latin America, Issues and Questions, written by Juan Pablo Gonzalez, published in 2018, he defines neo-folklore as a style promoted by the music industry that incorporated folk repertoire into youth music. He also goes on to say, with the outreach activities, folklore took on a didactic, patrimonial tone. In neo-folklore, it acquired a celebratory sense of diversity, and in New Song, it represented advocacy for social subjects. The genre of music was a form of unity for the Chilean musicians and listeners. The ensemble for neo-folkloric music generally consisted of a charango, bass guitar, drums, guitar, and as well as panpipes. Rolando Alarcón was an activist and supporter of Salvador Allende, the socialist presidential candidate at the time, who eventually was elected to power in 1970. He participated as an enthusiast of the cause up until 1973. On February 4th, 1973, Rolando Alarcón died while on tour. He died of an old ulcer that caused an internal hemorrhage, and he died in a hospital in Santiago. However, this was not the end of his legacy. Rolando was the first prominent gay musician of all time. He had to hide his sexuality most of the time due to the prevailing hostility against homosexuals in the mid-20th century. In an interview conducted by author Carlos Vidares, former friend of Alarcón's in 2015, he says, "For those who were his friends, it was very complicated because they felt that he suffered a lot, that they discriminated against him, and that his sexual condition was badly seen and he was being demeaned." Despite the public's view of homosexuality at the time, President Allende expressed his grief for the loss of Alarcón at his funeral. Although not noticed by many, Rolando Alarcón was an important activist and musician for Chile. Though he lived a short life, he accomplished lots. As described by former friend Carlos Vidares, the man who blended the strummed guitar folk sound with the drums and panpipes of indigenous Andean music is now part of the collective memory. Thank you.